Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a beer, it's time for some Path of Exile discussion. Today I wanted to give an update on the Bane Occultist that I am playing in the Endless Delve event. So Endless Delve is a bit of an unusual event in Path of Exile in that you have no access to the crafting bench, you have no access to trade with other players, and as a result you're completely self-reliant on gear that you can either craft yourself or identify. This creates a situation where it is very, 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 very rare to get your hands on a 6-link. And actually, I'm at level 84 and I don't even have a 5-link yet. I have had 5-link items drop, but they've been weapons that I can't use. So I think I've had a 5-link maul drop and a 5-link bow, neither of which are of any use to me. I would happily use a 5-link chest piece in a heartbeat, but for the moment, the chest piece that I have is not something that's worth considering 5-linking because of the colors that it will be able to roll on it. It's not going to be possible to get the number of blue sockets that I would need to have any sort of usable setup. So, ultimately, I'm still running on a 4-link. We are using Bane linked to Punishment, linked to Despair, linked to Efficacy support. So this is my damage and cursing setup. Bane will then cast and it will trigger Punishment and Despair on the enemy. Punishment and Despair will scale up the damage of Bane, the damage over time, and also the duration. And Efficacy will just cause it to do more damage and have more duration. Efficacy will be changed shortly for Controlled Destruction. Controlled Destruction works really well with Bane because it is because of the effect that modifiers the spell damage affect this skill's damage over time effect. Just early on I needed Efficacy for the duration, but that's not likely to be the case any longer. Otherwise, the gear that I'm using is bad and it is life resist gear. Ultimately, I have no damage on any pieces of gear with the exception of this wand, which is providing 46% spell damage, 25% chaos.multi. It's sort of okay, but it is not anything to write home about. However, the rest of the gear manages to get me resistance capped, including chaos resistance capped, and we'll come to why that is in a second, or very close to chaos res capped. We'll come to that in a second, without needing to as you run Purity of Elements anymore. So the reason that we are Chaos Resistance almost capped is one of the Chaos Masteries, and I believe it's this one here, 1% to Chaos Damage over time multiplier per 4% Chaos Resistance. Now we are currently sitting on the 72% Chaos Resistance, which means that we are getting the full 18% benefit from that. So that's 18% Chaos.multi is phenomenal. The investment we're making for that is that we are taking the Mastery point here, and then we're taking the entirety of the Asylum Cluster. So the Asylum Cluster brings us 30 points of Chaos Resistance. So that's the difference between being 42 and 72. And so I think that's generally pretty worthwhile. Other sources of Chaos Resistance we have Purity of Flesh, and I think that's really about it. There's maybe a little bit on gear, but basically it's, and it's the 60% you get from being an Occultist. Well, Withering Presence node, which is just fantastic. So in terms of things that have over and underperformed, Profane Bloom has overperformed. This is fantastic. The reason it's so good, and the reason that I underestimated it early on, is that where Profane Bloom absolutely shines is where you've got a pack of magic monsters surrounding a rare monster. You kill the magic monsters with Bane, then some of them Chaos Explode and they instantly kill the rare monster. The reason that it's instant is that you Profane Bloom pop one of the magic monsters. Chances are this magic monster pack have the same amount of hit points as each other, or very close to it. And so that will likely kill the rest of the pack with a lot of overkill damage. And that overkill damage gets reflected because of punishment. And that causes a chain reaction that takes down the rare monster that's traveling with that magic pack. That's been really effective, and I highly, highly recommend that. In terms of things that have been worse than I expected, jewels. I haven't been able to craft jewels yet. And as a result, you'll see that there's a 2-point jewel I haven't taken, and there's another couple of jewels that I've got reasonable access to. So this one here is a 2-pointer. I haven't taken it. This one's a 3-pointer I haven't taken, and I may not take them for quite some time. I'm intending to roll Pristine plus Aberrant Fossil jewels. I just haven't had the option to do so yet. Deviations from my original passive tree plan. I have taken Heart of Darkness. Heart of Darkness is essentially 3 points, for 16, 16, and 27% increased chaos damage. Damage penetrates 7% chaos resistance does almost nothing for me because damage over time ignores resistances anyway. But I'm getting 59% increased chaos damage here. And whilst I originally didn't think I would need that, The reason I didn't think I would need that is because chaos damage percent is a stat that you normally would get a lot of on gear on an occultist build, and as a result, you end up hitting a diminishing returns point where it's not as good as getting other stats like chaos damage over time multiplier. However, on this build, because of all of the pressures that are put on our gearing by needing to get resistances without the access to the crafting bench, that actually makes this quite a bit better than it would otherwise be. So Heart of Darkness, take it. Second thing I'm going to take, and this is going to be my next 3 points most likely, I'm going to take Hexmaster. Hexmaster is going to give us a massive 70% increased area of effect of Hex skills. It's also going to give us 100% increased duration, and that 100% duration applies to Bane, and that means 70% increased AoE and 100% duration on Bane. I no longer feel like I need efficacy, I can use something else instead, and controlled destruction is better there. So I'll be using controlled destruction in place of efficacy, and Hexmaster will be something that will be a big improvement. We haven't yet been able to get quality gems, and we're a long way off them. So I've had, how many GCPs drop? I've had 8 GCPs drop all league, so I'm going to have to be reliant upon the flip recipe. That's the gem flip recipe where you vendor a level 20 gem with a single GCP, and you will receive back a 20 quality level 1 version of that same gem. I am leveling 6 copies of Bane in my offhand for exactly that reason. I will GCP flip all of those, and then when they're 20/20, I will hopefully be able to Vaal one of them into a 21/20. Anyways, that's what we're looking at the moment. Let's just show some quick gameplay footage. I will run one node that will be monster level 78. I'm occasionally dying doing these, so if I do die, that will be quite funny. In terms of reservations, though, I am running Determination, Malevolence, Defiance Banner, and Tempest Shield. I do not have enough. I do not currently have enough. Dexterity to run Grace, as was my original plan, and I'm actually pretty content with the current setup as well. You'll also notice I am using Phase Run, and thank you to people in my stream who suggested running Phase Run, and I'm also running a Decoy Totem. Decoy Totem hasn't been as important, but Phase Run has been fantastic. That's just got a lot of high stats on it. I'm just going to pick it up because, whilst I don't think I'm going to use it, I like having options in SSF, so if I see something with a lot of high stats, I'll pick it up and figure out what we can do with it. And yeah, let's run another node. This will be an Azurite node. This is tier 11 content. If you're interested in watching a lot more gameplay footage, I do have some long playthroughs stream footage available. Like I have basically the entire 6 hours that it took me to go from level 1 to 60 or so, and that's up on YouTube. And also I have a stream that I did last night, starting at 69 up to 84, I think. So was it, no, sorry, 79 to 84. 79 to 84 I have as a stream as well, so they're available on in my past streams section on YouTube, my playlist. So hopefully this gives a bit of a sense of the playstyle, and you'll notice that it's not the fastest clearing in the world, but that is due to the fact that we are stuck with a 4-link currently. I do think things will get a lot better when we get a 5-link, and I am sort of waiting for the right thing to craft into that at the moment. Whether that ends up being, whether I give up and end up using a Sadist Scarb, or whether I wait for a unique, I haven't yet decided on that front yet. It's really just going to come down to what I start seeing. But I should have enough fusings to get a 5-link, unless I'm unlucky. There's a Sadist Scarb though, so I will pick that up. Anyways, may your Val Orbs have interesting results, and I will see you around.